Last time on the Cellcast,
the animated series.
This is, of course, the Cellcast, the animated series. The only animation you're going to see is whatever
plays in front of your mind.
Princess film.
Do this is these episodes are going to come out daily. So, as we are calling it, cartoons, the animated frontier. These are the voyages of the Cellcast podcast. Its continuing mission to explore strange new cartoons, to seek out new animation styles and new creative storytelling methods, to boldly go where so few ever go again.
Wrong? Okay. This progress is a part of Christian Reek Central Network. Wrong.
Hey, Scoop, what are you doing, man?
I don't know. I'm supposed to be reading an ad.
All right, hold on. Give me it.
Okay.
All right. This podcast is part of the Christian Geek Central Network at ChristianGeekCentral.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cellcast,
the animated series.
Joining me today is a man who needs a haircut. Jacob.
My hair's not that long. Come on. It's not long as Rapunzel's, okay? I'm just saying that.
How many scissors have been lost in the upkeep?
Quite a bit.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'd like to introduce our co-host, a man who likes to tinker with a little alchemy every once in a while. Welcome, Drew.
It's not magic. It's science.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Kind of.
A little zany for science, but
just a little bit.
So once again, we are reviewing Tangled The Series. Today we are on Season 1, Episode 1, What the Hair? It aired on March 24th, 2017. It was directed by Tom Caulfield and written by David Schiff. This particular episode introduces Jeremy Jordan as Varian and the character of Hookfoot, which is the brother of Hook Hand, who is currently on tour. And as far as we can tell, he's not voiced by anybody.
No.
Maybe a couple grunts here and there, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So, getting into the synopsis of the story. Nearly a week after her coronation, Rapunzel and Cassandra seek out an alchemist in their first attempt at solving the mystery as to how and why Rapunzel's 70-foot golden hair grew back. Eugene follows them, and things don't go quite as planned. They find Varian, a 14-year-old alchemist, who agrees to help uncover the mystery of Rapunzel's hair. However, Varian has built some underground machines which run out of control and destroy the village. Luckily, no one is hurt, and the test shows some important facts about Rapunzel's hair. It's completely indestructible and doesn't have any healing powers anymore, but now can completely cover somebody and protect them. As they leave, Rapunzel begins telling Eugene about the events of the night when her hair grew back, which Eugene promises to keep secret, and the black rocks slowly start to grow back and multiply. Getting into the trivia, it takes place about 1 week after Before Ever After. We do get to hear Rapunzel's healing song from the movie, a portion of it.
Yeah, a portion of it, yes.
But it doesn't do anything this time.
No, it doesn't.
But it does create, her hair now can create a protective shield. And of course, the rocks from Before Ever After are slowly growing towards town, even though they looked like maybe they weren't following them. What are your thoughts on this episode?
With what I've seen of Season 1, I know you haven't seen all of it yet, Variant does play a very, very key part in this series. And it's very interesting that your first intro would be like that you have Cassandra and Rapunzel, or Raps, Cassandra, because they
mix it up in the show.
They mix it up so much, so it's slightly confusing.
This is not some weird play on the fact that I couldn't pronounce Anna or Anna's name the same way twice back from Frozen.
Yeah,
this is just literally the problem here is they can't even keep it straight.
No,
so
they can't.
Why should we?
Yeah, so I enjoy Variant as a character. He's this very young, very naive. Well, I wouldn't say very naive, but he's very wise for his age. But he's not. He doesn't think of everything needs to go on.
Well, he's a kid.
Oh yeah, he's a kid.
focused on this is the thing I'm doing. I
Yeah.
don't really pay attention to all the other things that are going to come because of it.
Yeah,
Although this is just a small part of me looking at the story.
yeah,
The machines he's invented
yeah,
with the special compound are essentially designed to produce hot water.
yeah. They're boilers.
They're boilers. But they don't use wood or coal
No.
to produce the heat. They use this alchemic formula that he's come up with.
And what does he call it?
Flindinium or something
Flindinium.
Like that.
Yeah.
Flindinium. After Flynn Rider because he's a big Flynn Rider fan.
Just a little bit.
Which is but he won't listen to Eugene. The Flynn Rider in the books and him are two different people.
yeah. So Variant is so obsessed with the Flynn Rider character, he doesn't realize that Eugene is not Flynn.
Right.
So it's very much the kin of like a young child looking up to like his favorite character. I think Hugh Jackman from Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a young child is going to look and be like, oh, that's Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like that's not an actor.
Well, let's be honest. For many of us, for many years, we
Yes.
didn't think of him as Hugh Jackman. It's like, oh, look, Wolverine
yeah,
is playing is in a musical.
yeah, which he was very good in.
Which musical are you referring to?
The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an amazing movie.
I didn't think you were talking about Les Mis because I didn't think you'd seen Les Mis.
I haven't yet.
Okay. So back to what I was getting at. His plan, this thing, he's admittedly coal or wood or something like that to produce heat, produce hot water for his village
Right.
would be a lot simpler.
Yeah, but-
Admittedly, it can't be piped to every house, but even we don't pipe hot water to every house.
No.
We pipe cold water to every house and let individual water heaters
Right.
warm it up. This seems like a weird thing of his, a weird invention of his that it was just bound for failure the minute
He's
he showed it
overly
up.
Variant has a way of just overdoing it.
Yes,
Overdoing it,
can see that.
overcomplicating things.
I can see that.
And like obviously we're introduced to his father. I'm drawing a blank on his father's name, but his character comes into a much larger role later on in the series. And there's little characters that pop up. I'm not talking the raccoon who pops up is a major character. I'm not saying that. But there's
Really, I assumed the raccoon would be the biggest character to come out of this.
yeah.
Yes, it's called Guardians of the Galaxy.
Good one. No, but
Didn't you see him next to Groot holding all those apples?
but I think Groot was a horse.
I said the tree holding the apples.
Okay, never mind. But the fact that Variant's a very intelligent young man, and his eagerness to prove himself gets himself in a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the fact of Eugene, who cannot
Keep a secret.
keep a secret whatsoever. And Cass
That is-
calls him out it several times.
And that's a fair thing. However, my thought is it really a good idea? I mean, this is a show for kids.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. And so you are teaching life lessons, or assuming you're teaching life
Right.
lessons in the story. So their entire thing about Flynn not being able to keep a secret, I mean, let's face it, discretion is something what needs to be taught.
Right.
But it just feels like, no, you got to keep it a secret. It's like, because the whole thing is they're not, Cassandra, let's just say Cass.
Yeah.
Cass does not trust Flynn Rider to not get her in trouble.
Yeah.
Now, let's face it, the cat's out of the bag, at least to the king. What happened that night? Now, we don't know if Rapunzel brought up that Cass is the one that snuck her out.
No, it'd be like
That part we don't know.
yeah, that's the one part we don't.
But then
Yeah.
why can't Rapunzel just tell Flynn the same story she just told her father, and that would stop that? Or how about we just go ahead and come out in the open and say, okay, yeah, Cass is the one that snuck her out. It doesn't appear like it's going to cause much of a problem. I don't know. It's just with a show for kids, you expect them to say, you need to know to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And not putting that honesty forward,
Okay.
especially the beginning of the show when it's almost a very not well kept secret that she got out and that someone snuck her out, because let's face it, if she couldn't escape from the tower in the movie until Flynn came along, when it's full of other people there at the castle.
That is true. That's why she needed Cass. That's
Yeah.
why she needed Cass. And
Cass is going to be the one who'd be most suspicious to be that person anyway, because A, she's her handmaiden or lady in waiting. They
Yes.
actually is the term they use. Cass knows how to get out. Being the daughter of the captain of the guard, knows pretty much every nook and cranny in that castle,
Right,
in order to get
which she
somebody
said.
out, which is the whole point.
yeah,
And I know we've probably already talked about this with Before Ever After,
right.
but I just don't understand. This seemed like a weird plot. We make sure we know that Eugene can't keep a secret. Let's get him in a position where
Mm-hmm.
he's asked to keep a secret, and his ego wants him to keep a secret, but everyone and their dog says, this is not the time you keep a secret. It's just a weird plot element in this particular episode that feels like it's meant to teach a lesson, and it really doesn't teach the lesson.
No, it doesn't. From my perspective, this show it's building on a lot of things that yet to come.
Yes.
And so,
And I recognize that. This
Yeah.
does at least show, okay, he's not very good at keeping a secret.
right.
Weird for a thief, or a well-made thief
Yeah.
prior to this. But, okay, I can kind of work with this. He was a thief, but he wasn't, he wasn't the Flynn Rider of the books, as we already stated.
Yes.
But it establishes all this other stuff. It just feels like taking this episode by itself.
Okay.
Without looking at what it leads to or what it came from. I'm just saying, if you take it by itself, it's like, this is a weird plot point for an episode.
Yeah.
To say, I feel like it could be done better. I guess is really what I'm trying to say. Is it's written strangely. To where it's like, you could have come up with a better way to say he can't keep a secret, or a better episode, better context
Okay.
for showing that he doesn't know how to keep a secret, put in a position where he wants to keep a secret, but maybe is unable to.
Right.
Because he can't, but where it's not as vitally important that everybody knows something's happening.
Okay.
Plus, this episode teases we're going to get a bunch of answers, even if half of them are going to be wrong, and we don't even get to hear the wrong answers. All we really know is what we knew ahead of time. The hair's indestructible, and it can't heal no more.
Yeah.
That's all we know. And it came from the rocks, which are still coming.
Yeah.
I probably stepped all over everything you were going
No,
to say.
you didn't actually. Another thing would be, like, I think we approached it earlier, was the what's the deal with Rapunzel's hair?
Yes.
Or Rap's hair? The fact it has changed, be like, obviously she has her 70-foot-esque length of hair back, but it's different. Be like, it doesn't have healing powers anymore, like you said before. But I like the direction they went with the idea that it's indestructible.
Yes.
It's indestructible. She can basically use it for different means instead of healing. Now it's more of a offensive, defensive kind of a thing in a way.
Admittedly, not knowing where it's going, you know more of that than I do.
Right.
My guess is that when her hair was that long because of the sun drop, that's one power source. But I do know that later on we're going to find out about this moonstone.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming is connected somehow. What if the reason her hair has different abilities this time is because it's got a different power source? It's my thought.
It's a very good thought.
And my other thought is the reason it manifested in her with the 70-foot long blonde hair, even though it's a different power source, is because, well, that was an easy way for the magic to flow through her. And I'm still going to call it magic no matter what variant calls it.
I think in general we're going to call it magic.
Yeah. Just because there's alchemy does not mean there's not magic.
Yeah.
But let's face it, none of the alchemists could heal her mother.
No, they couldn't.
That we know of.
No. So yeah, it's very well. The fact, if we go back to Tangled the movie, the fact that her hair is so long is because Mother Gothel wanted to keep it growing, because if you cut it,
you couldn't cut it.
If you cut it, it would lose its power.
Why didn't her hair just turn blonde when she touched it? I mean, this is something I'm sure we talked about with Before Ever After.
Right.
But why did it not just turn blonde, and then, because it now can't be cut, it didn't just keep growing later on? Why did it have a rush of growth? But at the same time, we also saw a rush of growth of those black rocks that appears to have slowed down now. So
possibly. My explanation is going to be that for dramatic effect. Like her hair is this thing.
I am aware there are things you make solely for the purpose of plot, but I am of the thought you've got to explain some of this.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree with you. But with this is more like, okay, we've got to get her hair back.
Yeah,
this is how we're going to do it.
And I'm sure later on they will explain this.
They probably will,
but we haven't got there yet.
No, we haven't.
So Yeah, what do we got before we wrap this up?
Don't know.
Okay. Do we want to hang on? Do we want to rate each episode?
Nah.
Okay. Then we won't rate each episode.
All right. So I think we'll just give a preview. It's like, hey, next episode, season 1, episode 2.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of our talk on this particular episode. Join us next time for season 1, episode 2, Rapunzel's Enemy. All right. Well, join us next time.
Thanks, guys.
Come, Jacob. We must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast.
Oh, boy.
So where can they find you, Jacob?
You can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron, also on Facebook at Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where I try to draw each and every day. I don't get to it as often as I like, but join me there. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Jacob B. Heron, on Twitter at Jacob Heron, and Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. So where can they find you, Drew?
You can also follow me on Letterboxd at ggeorge759, Facebook as Drew Dodgen, my Facebook page where you can see pictures I've taken at Drew's Photo Bin. You can also follow me on Twitter at ggeorge759.
You can email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter at cast_cell.
You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/thecellcastgaming.
You can also follow us on YouTube at Cellcast,
Listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts,
Google Play Podcasts,
Stitcher,
Spotify,
and your favorite podcast directory.
You can also listen to us on the Movie of the Week podcast with Jim Heron, where we talk about live-action movies. And remember, Cell is a single L.